I did have something before we started.
Okay.
I was thinking about that game, Metaphor Refantasio. I don't know if you all have heard of that game.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, but that's a video game.
Don't fucking do it.
I don't pronounce it that way.
Unfamiliar to me.
Don't do it, Frank.
I'm not gonna.
What did you say?
There
the game
was too much buildup. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about that game, and I guess we all know what they'll call the sequel, right? That'll be Meta 5 Refantasio. So, but then when they eventually
Metaphor 3
do
Fantasio, yeah.
I really hope they do that.
And then
They won't.
and then they'll just spell the FOUR.
Yeah, and then Meta 5. No, they could also just go straight to Meta 5 Refantasio. And then when they make like a pixel art version, that'll be Metaphor D-Fantasio because it's a D-make. But what are they going to call the last game in the series? That's what I've been thinking about.
As we wait for bated breath for this.
I'm actually thinking about it.
I think Final Fantasio.
There we go.
There we go.
That's what I think. Yeah, that's all I had to say. The end.
You get a 7 out of 10 for that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I am anticipating that they dissociate from Square and continue as an indie series and become metaphorrefantaz.io.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a 6.
Yeah. A classic Jaffe 6. I'll take it.
A Jaff Gaff, we call it.
Yeah. Welcome to the Jaff Gaffs. You ready to do this episode?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. If an enemy has a head, it's a weak spot. This is episode 391 of the Insert Credit Show, a video game podcast that's not just a panel of experts in a horrible buzzer. Now we have gotcha mechanics. I'm Alex Jaffe, and this is a placeholder for an icebreaker. If I am reading this on the show, then I have failed to produce an icebreaker by time of recording.
Whoa.
I'm Frank Cifaldi, and I hope Jaffe's okay.
I'm Ash Parrish, and yeah, I've had it happen where a TK slips by and gets clipped to production.
Here we are.
I'm Brandon Sheffield, and I once submitted a paper in college called, like, a stupid, crappy essay that's pointless because I always titled my essays something like that and then changed it at the end, which is not a smart thing to do. I don't know if you knew that, but that's not a good way.
What feedback did you get on that?
Was that the title or was that the file name?
It was the title.
Oh.
I had to. I printed it out and turned it in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because, like Shigeru Miyamoto, Brandon does the first level at the end.
Right.
That's right.
Development.
And so the feedback that I received was that the essay was good, but in the future, try not to be a jerk, basically.
But to Brandon's credit, he took that to heart, and he hasn't been a jerk since.
That's right. I completely stopped.
That's his origin story.
Yeah.
All right. We got an exciting array of topics for you this week, but I would like to catch Frank a little bit up to speed on some changes we made around here while he was away in Chicago.
You didn't ask about how I changed while I was away in Chicago, but that's
I'm going to, but first I'm going to talk about us. We are going to talk about you. I want to tell you that now we have a secret word in the bank that changes every episode.
Just immediately Pee Wee Herman screamed. In my head.
Yeah. Esper's probably going to play some version of that we can get.
The secret word
when someone says it. And if you trigger that,
not a good Pee Wee.
It wasn't. It was pretty bad. It was like in between him and Kermit or something.
Yeah. Too late to get Paul Rubens on the show, unfortunately. But
when I try to do Anthony Kiedis from Red Hot Chili Peppers, it also devolves into Kermit. Just so
if you say the word that I have written down ahead of time, then you lose a credit this episode. So be careful about that.
I got to want to give it to a rainbow. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm still thinking about Anthony Kiedis Kermit.
So that since we're talking about the Red Hot Chili Peppers, me and the husband were in downtown Akron yesterday, and there's the Akron Civic Theater where Weird Al Yankovic played once, and they have the Hot Red Chili Peppers playing this week, which I have to assume is some kind of cover band situation.
One would imagine so.
The cinnamon flavored.
Yeah, hot red chili peppers.
I like to imagine there are just variations of those 4 words in different combinations touring the country. The chili hot red peppers, the chili pepper red hots. And they all go up against each other on Violence Island at the end of the season.
That's right.
Let's see. Other rules. If you want, you can spend 10 credits to change the name of the question hole. You can spend 5.
Is that permanent until?
That's permanent until someone else spends 10 credits to change the name again. You can spend 5 credits instead of 4 to make people read or watch something instead of play something.
Why does that cost more?
Because this is ostensibly a video game podcast.
Okay.
And you can also spend 1 credit at any point to take a pull from the gotcha machine.
Okay.
And that's where we stand. That's how we've changed. Frank, I want to ask you about Duelin Firemen. What happened to you?
Okay, so I was in Chicago last week, and well, I had like 7 appointments, but you're asking about Duelin Firemen.
Of course. I guess that's the thing we were all anticipating.
We can hear about the other ones too. Let's hear it all.
So yeah, last Sunday, as we're recording this, Saturday night.
Does when we're recording it change what day it was? Just curious.
It might. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
There was a party held by the guy who produced or directed or whatever, Duelin Firemen, which was sort of a theater kid FMV video gamey thing that was meant to come out on the 3DO.
And it did have quite a few beloved B-list, C-list actors in it.
And people who aren't actors who also have some kind of following of some, like Steve Albini, Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Rudy Ray Moore was in it, right?
Rudy Ray Moore was basically like the star attraction of this thing.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those games where it's like, it was just that really stupid CD-ROM era of 1994 where there was this convergence of people who know how to film things thinking that like interactive movie is the next thing, and that didn't really play out, but there was a lot of wild experimentation going on at the time. This was one of those. And anyway, they had a party 30 years later or something like that, and it was actually the launch of the Duelin Firemen comic book adaptation. So it was like kind of a wake for the game and for the like 10 people who were in it who are dead now, and then also like there was a comic you could buy. And how was it? It was. I want to say that what I'm going to say is going to sound kind of mean, but I kind of mean it in a semi-loving way, at least, which is like I was really confused. Things were really loud. The features didn't really work, and they were like pretty late to start. And I wouldn't have it any other way for a Duelin Fireman party. That just seems very on brand. If
the game was good, it would kind of be sadder.
Right. They don't have anything like a playable build. Whenever I talk to people there about it, I talk to like most of the people who like produced the project were there. They're like, yeah, parts were playable, but it just seems like one of those things where like they just kept filming and didn't really know how to make a game. Funding ran out, so they made like Urban Yeti or whatever instead. And strange party. I was only there for maybe an hour because then a band started and I was like, I'm not going to watch band. But and then I went out for dinner with a friend of mine, Janelle. I don't know if you listen to this show. Janelle Zimmerer, daughter of Rita Zimmerer, who ran marketing at Sunsoft. I hang out with her daughter now.
That band was the Hot Red Pepper Chilies, right?
That's right. Yeah. But I don't know. Funny party. I'm glad I went. We're going to do some kind of follow-up where it's like, okay, what survived? We should archive this stuff maybe. But personally, that party really kind of like ended the mystique of that game for me. Because just, seeing all that footage and being surrounded by people, it's like, okay, these were just like, theater kids goofing around with somebody's money until it ran out, and it barely counts as a video game to me.
Good. What else?
I feel like that must happen a lot in your line of work of just like excavating lost video games where once you find
peek at it and you go, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
It might. But Brandon, to answer your question, I visited a lot of people while I was there. And it's people you might think of even. Like I had a good like 2-hour chat with Eugene Jarvis at Raw Thrills, about game preservation, and he's now a big fan of ours, which is fun.
Nice.
Went and saw Roger Sharp, subject of a movie called Pinball, I think. I think that's the name of the movie. It was made like 2 years ago because he like famously played pinball in front of a jury to prove that it was a game of skill, not a game of chance. So therefore, it's not illegal.
Fun.
He also wrote the first history book on pinball in the 70s. But then he was marketing for Midway for like 15 years. So, video game guy too. When visited Incredible Technologies, I actually have some paper files on my desk to the right from Incredible Technologies because they worked on some console stuff that didn't come out. I was going to scan that.
Was it trackball based or not?
No, one of them was kind
of. For those who
don't
know, Incredible Technologies is known mostly these days for their Golden Tee golf.
See, I would think to you they'd be known for some trash like Time Killers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's what I like about their existence. But
I should show you Time Killers. Time Killers, all the frames were hand drawn, and they're actually really nice.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
I'll send you some video later.
Yeah, I played that as a kid in a laundromat, and I was like, "What the heck is this? What's going on with this thing?"
That's a great example of a game being named after something that all video games do.
Yeah, kill time.
It's called like Hobby.
Yeah. Button pressers.
But yeah, just a week of like meeting with video game people, semi-retired, and like Jeff Lee, the guy who he did art direction and graphics for a bunch of arcade stuff. I think the most famous one would be Q*bert. Like he created that character, at least the visuals of him. But
my dad
worked on some neat stuff like Mad Planets, which I think you and I both have played at California Extreme. And it's had a good trip. I had a lot of follow up I need to do. I'm gonna kind of come back with a scanner and see what I can digitize. But Chicago seems counterintuitive as a place for someone in my line of work to be, considering there's not much of an industry there, as you might hear in a bonus credit, because we talked about it before this recording. But if you think about it for a second, like actually in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of industry there.
Yeah.
And they got basements in Chicago. They got real estate, and they got basements.
That's your lifeblood.
That is maybe the only like major video game industry hub, at least in American history, that was somewhere that has basements. So a lot of things just survived.
Yeah.
It's also the best city, the best major metropolitan area in the contiguous 48 United States.
Interesting.
I might be with you, man. I don't know. I'm getting there. Like it's kind of top of the list for escape plan for me right now.
I do keep seeing ads in Manhattan to go to Chicago as like the #1 rated city.
It's so much better.
Yeah.
You can get everything that you can get in New York with better infrastructure and slightly cheaper prices.
I'm not messing around with weather. Get it out of here.
It's not even all that bad. Like with climate change, it doesn't even hardly snow anymore.
It's all right, man.
Yeah, seriously, I'm dead ass.
We're warming it up.
I've lived in the Midwest my entire black ass life. It's been a long time since there's been really bad, really, really, really bad snow and cold that have lingered. It happens every blue moon, but it's not really honestly that bad.
On the other hand,
I don't know what to tell you.
You've lived in the Midwest your entire life, so you don't have a California frame of reference.
Yeah,
California sucks. I'm sorry. I love you both, but I hate that state.
I have
that's incorrect.
I have no pride other than like politics, I guess. But
That's fair. It's time for us to revisit a pretty infrequent segment. Where I'd like us to think about times we've been wrong about video games. For example, I have to bring up that Nintendo has in fact produced evidence that Diddy Kong is still alive and will be present in Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Okay, putting him in a promotional image to buy old Donkey Kong games is not proof of life.
He's going to be in the next game, dude.
He's not holding a newspaper with today's date.
Mm-hmm.
They updated his character design and everything. They turned his mono eye into 2 distinct eyes.
He is going to be in the next game.
If you really think that's him, I don't know.
What do you think's going on here? How deep does the Diddy conspiracy go?
Let me tell you about small Mark Hamill.
Okay. Yeah, bigger Luke.
Anyway, go on with your question, and I'll pretend to entertain
I just want to know about times that you've had to own up to the fact that you were wrong about a video game.
Oh.
Well, I've never had to own up to it. I've been wrong plenty of times, but I've
Right.
never had to own up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I avoid things like that, Alex Jaffe. I just quietly acknowledge to myself.
I certainly can't remember any of the times because I usually then apologize for it, and then
That's true. Brandon
and
is
then
very
it
open
just
about his apology corner.
goes out of my mind. It leaves me thereafter.
I was going to say, like, I was going to cop to, and I think I've done it before and talking about when I was wrong about a video game, but if you've got something, Frank, go for it.
No, I don't. I was just trying to puzzle it out loud. Like, okay, maybe a game that I played once and I was in a bad mood, and then I came back to it and went, oh, actually, this is good. People are right, but nothing's coming to mind.
Yeah, it happened to me. It was Indiana Jones, and I'm pretty sure I've either discussed this on the podcast or on the forums, but the way that Indiana Jones went down, like, I was completely wrong, and I wish that I like to blame Xbox for this because it is their fault. They gave us Indiana Jones code over the Thanksgiving holiday break, which is not an ideal code distribution situation because you're away, you're with family, you're doing family shit. You don't have a lot of time to devote to a video game. Add to that a quick turnaround time on the embargo. I don't remember if it was like a week or maybe slightly longer than a week, but it was like, what am I supposed to do with this? You give this to me when I'm in the middle of a holiday. You don't give me a lot of time to do it. I have to do
that if the game's bad. You don't do that if the game's good.
Exactly. So I play this game, and because of the embargo, the way that the situation worked out, I was only able to get through like the first half of it. And the first half of it wasn't that great. Like, I just did not vibe with it. And also, you're playing under less than ideal circumstances and situations. You're not in a good headspace to, review this game correctly. So I did the best I could. I wrote the review that I wrote. I didn't like the first half of the game. Then I finished the game, and I'm like, the back half of this game is so much better that if I had enough time, if Xbox had given me this code a week before when they did, and I had time to adequately get through it the way that I'm fucking supposed to, I would have written a much nicer, much less harsh review of it. And it just sticks in my craw that Xbox's PR got in the way of me doing my job right. And it's always going to fucking bother me.
I understand.
So so I was I wrong? Yes and no. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah. You were you weren't allowed the time to fully percolate your opinions.
Yeah.
And get through the whole thing. This isn't being wrong about a game, and also maybe I'm still not wrong, but I was very upset in the 90s about the third dimension in video games. I thought.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was
a video game or actual the third dimension.
Just the third dimension.
It does sound like a Sega CD game.
Yeah, it sounds like the guys who made The Seventh Guest also made the third dimension.
Made the third dimension. No, I was upset about 3D because at that time everybody was going nuts for this low poly, low frame rate, bad collision, jittery 3D stuff. When 2D games were looking like beautiful and lush and had amazing detail that 3D could not achieve. And people were just going nuts for like Battle Arena Toshinden. And meanwhile, like Street Fighter 3, people were like, it's old. It's 2D. It's no good. And also I was pretty convinced that 3D killed Sega. Which was Sega's own fault, but it kind of did.
You've been looking for a murderer for Sega for a long time.
Yeah, ultimately it's Sega. They fell on their own sword is what happened. But
you're like Adrian Monk trying to solve the murder of his wife for like 30 years.
I think I've reconciled with 3D more or less. I believe that 3D is fine now, but it took me a long time to forgive 3D for killing 2D, but it didn't kill 2D. That's the main thing. 2D came back
stronger than ever. We're
doing more of it than we ever did.
These were two very heavy old head questions, so this next one's for Ash, but I'm sure the rest of you can weigh in. What's the greatest love story in a game that isn't a dating sim or RPG?
That isn't a dating sim or RPG.
All right. I'm thinking Mario and Pauline.
Now that makes me have to think of like what other kinds of games are there and if there are any love stories in them.
Okay, here's a left field approach, which is an asynchronous fourth wall breaking love story between you and a character you get obsessed with, and then you that is just a character in a game. Like, is that the greatest love story? Sometimes.
Yeah. Shit.
Okay.
Mm.
Almost feels like cheating, but
Yeah.
I think it is the best answer.
It is the best answer because it has personal significance for me. I don't know if I want to. I'm sure I've told flavors of this story before, and I'm not going to tell it again. Not right now. That's a bonus question. You're going to have to subscribe for that shit.
So another way to twist this would be, does love have to be romantic love, right?
It does not.
Right.
So some people, I'm not one of them, and I'm not judging, but some people were really touched by the relationship and story in The Last of Us.
Why did you? Why that one? I would have committed God of War. God.
I don't relate to either of them. Look, some of us don't have dads, okay? We don't know what that is. But I'm just, as an example that I'm aware of that normal people are super into, like that is one of them. Yeah.
Oh, here's one. Whatever horse you imprint on in Red Dead Redemption, I think. Like, you wind up really being in love with that horse, and I don't know if anybody other than me, probably everybody, has reloaded a save when that horse fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
So, and lost hours of time because it's like, no, that's my horse. I gotta get my horse back.
Okay. So there's the story that I will eventually tell for a bonus credit episode that people, if they know me, should probably already have an idea of what I'm going to say. But there's also another answer to this question that is also fairly recent. If any of you know me at all, I have a very bad recency bias affliction. So I have a hard time reaching back into my history unless it's like a big beacon of my memory. And I'll just go for whatever is most accessible, which happens to be the thing that happened to me most recently. Doom the Dark Ages is a love story.
Okay.
Go on.
Interesting.
The Doom Slayer, I am in love with the Doom Slayer. I love the Doom Slayer. I've spoken about this on Blue Sky, and I've spoken about this in my review. The Doom guy is a lover. Like, he's very much an emotional character, even though they try to make it seem like all he's about is like, rip and tear. But like, the way that id has written at least this incarnation of him from the Doom 2016 till now, this is a very emotional person, and he cares very, very deeply to the point of violence, because like, every fan fiction girly knows this. Like, there's a moment in a fic where the big, strong, muscly guy breaks shit because the people that he loves is in danger. That fucking happens in Doom. Like, it's like, no, this is not like a violence thing. This is a love thing. Like, there's somebody at id that knows exactly what the fuck they're doing. And there's this this has happened several times throughout this like trilogy, as it were, where the Doom guy gets real fucking pissed because you've hurt someone that he cares about. In the very opening minutes of the first Doom game, the main guy is talking to him about like, yes, I know I opened the gates of hell, but it had all these energy capabilities and it would have transformed society, and so you have to, and he like looks down and he sees the body of this like mangled Mars worker or whatever, and he just cracks his knuckles like, yeah, fuck you, I don't want to listen to anything you have to say. And then in Doom the Dark Ages, like, he's the tool or the puppet of these like would-be alien gods or whatever. So he gets deployed to like help humans or whatever whenever they deem it's necessary. And for whatever reason, they deem it's not necessary for him to help these humans at this point in time, but they're like watching like these humans take on the demons of hell, and they're like screaming for help, and like they're dying, and they're all watching this passively. And the Doomslayer is in his like prison in stasis, ostensibly locked down because he's, being controlled by these people. And he fucking like gets so angry that he's not being able to help his people that he like breaks like the control that they have over him for a brief second. I'm like, that somebody who writes fan fiction wrote that shit because it's what I would do. This man is a lover. I am in love with Doom Guy. And that's the greatest love story. Sorry. In a game that is not an RPG.
I'll take it.
Done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next
Can we have
up,
some kind of applause sound here? Come on.
Absolutely.
Come on. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's worth an applause. Really filled the air and was a real answer.
Doom Guy, I am free on Friday.
Wait, isn't he like human?
I thought he was dating Isabel.
He is, and they're in a lovely marriage. They've been married for 5 years now.
I'm so happy for them.
I am too.
That doesn't mean he doesn't date, okay?
That's true. Also true.
Very true.
All right. Next, let's talk Schadenfreude. When have you gotten the most personal joy from a video game company's misfortune?
Ooh. I mean, I think Schadenfreude is something for young jerks for the most part. Yeah. So I will come up with the one from when I was a young jerk, which was when a game publisher called Acclaim went bankrupt in 2004. And for me, it was like, you made all those crappy games from my youth that were all rental disappointments. Yeah. And I'm glad you're dead.
Make stupid games, win stupid prizes.
I flew to their bankruptcy auction in Long Island. That's
right. And wrote about it for Insert Credit.
But I did write for several outlets. I don't think Insert Credit. Oh, wait, actually, you actually posthumously published something that I wrote for like Edge or something.
You died and you're...
Yeah.
No,
what?
the article died. The article was killed.
Oh.
But then they, Brandon revived it. And I went and I went to their bankruptcy auction, which is like a weird wake. And I'd never even been to like a living video game company at that point. I went just to the dead one. And I wasn't a paid journalist, but I like emailed like the editors of Wired and Edge and stuff and got a couple people to like just be like, okay, sure, you can write an article about this. And it might have been my first paid work, actually. It was Edge. For this thing about going to the Acclaim bankruptcy auction and treating it like a wake. And that sounds way more interesting than the article is. I promise. I was young. I didn't know what I was doing.
So Edge as in the UK, or did they have a US imprint at that point?
No, the UK magazine.
Oh, nice.
There was a US version called Next Generation, but they were gone by then.
Oh. Frank, you would do, if there was a way to make like 6 Feet Under, but for video games, you would be the main character. And that would be good. And I would pay for that.
Thank you.
You're
Ash.
Welcome. I can't think of anything. I don't have the hangups that my two colleagues have about you only experience Schadenfreude if you're a jerk. That's not true. The thing is, though, bad things don't seem to keep happening to bad people. They only happen to good people. So I don't have anything that I can think of that gives me Schadenfreude.
I don't really feel good when most of them die. It's really only when the Web3 companies die that are like making NFT games or whatever. I still don't feel great though, because a lot of those people are just people that need to have jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
I am happy to see that model fail.
Yes.
Yeah. Not happy to see people lose their jobs, but happy to see the model fail.
I have ephemera in this office from GDC from the Blockchain Alliance with all of the companies that are part of the Blockchain Alliance. And it'd be kind of fun to do an Insert Credit where we dig one up 5 years later and just go one by one. Like,
I would love
see if any of them exist.
Let's talk about the blockchain companies. Yes.
God.
Yeah, Blockchain Alliance.
What's funny, just hearing Ash's reply is when I said it's only for the young jerks. I think that in my head, like it didn't even occur to me that it could happen as a mature adult, because I can't think of a lot of times where bad people fail anymore.
Yeah. They don't. They're not allowed.
So,
and if
like,
they do,
it
doesn't matter.
Right.
I guess that is why I asked this question. I'm kind of like begging you to give me examples of times that still happens.
Like, look at the Cybertruck. Like, it's completely failed, but Elon Musk is still out here,
he's doing
what he does.
I mean, he's richer than ever, probably. Yeah.
He's getting all those Starlink contracts.
Ugh.
Yeah, like...
Meanwhile, there's 10,000 Cybertrucks sitting in a lot.
And the people who want to get rid of theirs have to take like some bonkers ass trade-in value that's like ridiculous. Like there was math that was done that the Cybertruck loses like $5 a mile in the year that it's been out, which is a ridiculous depreciation rate. And yet Elon Musk is still the CEO of that company. Like those board members have not gotten like all the shit that we saw in succession with votes of no confidence for a clearly out of his mind CEO. That shit doesn't work.
Nope.
That shit doesn't happen. Otherwise, a lot of fucking CEOs would be tossed out on their ass a long time ago.
Okay, but the one thing is that the CEO of Target is making $9 million less in his many millions that he makes a year now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got him.
Okay.
Got him.
Great.
Got him.
We got
One
him.
less yacht.
Yeah, that's right.
Not even.
Oh no! What does this show become? Wait.
Bonk.
When Bonk
Sega
had
Saturn.
his revenge.
Thank you.
Nights into
Turbo
Dreams.
graphics.
Yes, please. Let's bring it back to what's important.
Like emergency.
The WonderSwan. Say something about the WonderSwan.
We have to deploy to get the podcast.
Deploy the WonderSwan.
Dragon Age Inquisition is a good game.
Yeah, you're pointing
Anders
at one,
did
but
nothing wrong.
in my
Wait a
head,
minute.
We have to go to break.
Okay.
I have a Red Hot Chili Peppers story that I have to share.
Oh, yeah?
In middle school, my best friend Zach, his dad was named Rick, and he was a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. He had a hat that said RHCP on it, as you might imagine, for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Uh-huh.
And he wore it to work one day, and his coworker was like, "Wow, that's messed up. Screw you, Rick." He was like, "What the hell? What's the matter?" He goes, "Rick hates colored people? That's offensive."
Oh, no. My mind went to Rick has cool parents. So his dad got him that hat.
I primed you on that one. You got mentalisted.
Rick
Yeah.
hates cop police.
There you go.
Yeah, that's rough. Boy, Red Hot Chili Peppers. That is a band that I do not like.
That's okay.
Very hard to listen to.
I like the Red Hot Chili Pepper songs that they played on the radio when I was like 9.
See, that was the problem. I heard those songs so much.
Well, that's just more
Yeah.
proof no one should live in California.
I guess that's right.
Welcome back to Insert Credit. Does anyone want to spend any of their credits at this point?
Well, I don't know. Are we close to some kind of punishment? I don't have a score tally.
The score tally is that Brandon has 3, Ash has 8, and you have 5.
So we're nowhere near all of us have 8.
Yeah, there's a secret penalty that the audience isn't privy to once all of you have 8. But we're not there yet. If everyone wants to keep their peace for now, we'll go right on to the question hole.
I have something I am going to spend it on. I just don't know if it's time.
Okay. Well, the question hole, if this is your first episode, is the part of every episode where we go to the questions submitted to us at patreon.com/insertcredit, where for just a few dollars a month, you get the form that lets you send us questions, you get bonus episodes, and other interesting things. This week's question comes from Isla, who asks, what is a game mechanic or system you really like that is in a game you don't like?
All right. I don't know if that exists, because I think if I like a mechanic, then I like the game enough to say that I like it. I think
if there's one thing you like about a game, you like the entire game.
Right. I mean, there can be great mechanics and terrible level design.
Yeah, but I probably still
there can even be like
it.
great idea for mechanic that's not executed well.
Oh, that's something. I think that's something else. But yes, there can be. But I don't think that's what the question is asking.
I really liked the fact that you could play as like different Bayonettas from different timelines with different powers in Bayonetta 3, but I did not like Bayonetta 3 narratively. That's the thing that I can think of most readily.
I don't know if that's a mechanic or a...
Yeah, I guess it's not a
conceit
mechanic
or
or
a
like a
concept.
narrative choice or whatever, but like it's different. It's not like a costume change or whatever. She just fights the same. It's like legitimately different ways that she fights depending on who she is, I guess, that I enjoyed. And the whole point where you play as Jean in like Metal Gear Solid-esque, like 2D side-scrolling levels, that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. Fucking hated that game. That's what I can think of.
That's a good one.
Because the other thing I'm going to do is I'm probably going to trigger Jaffe's, you're not supposed to say this, if I bring up the things that I would typically bring up and, mechanics that I like and games that I hate, because we all know the games that I hate and we all hate them because of who made them. And I don't want to trip that. So I'm not going to say it.
Oh, it's a suspected secret word. I see.
Yes.
I see.
I don't know what it is.
We're
But I don't wanna-
Despite
I-
all
I-
my rage, I'm still just a rat and a... Anyway.
Are there things you like about those games?
About...
Yes, actually, yeah. There are not the one game,
Yeah.
not the one by the French guy, but the other guy.
I will tell you, David Cage is not the secret word.
Yeah, there's nothing in Detroit Become Human that I particularly enjoy, but
Right.
in the other one from the other guy that we all hate, there are some cool things in that.
Actually, yeah. I think there's some really good mechanics in David Cage's games. But I hate all of them. The games, not the mechanics.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I might have said this on the show before, but it was in Heavy Rain. I don't remember the exact scenario because who cares? But like, I think you're cops and you're in like a tense situation, and this guy makes a sudden move, and I accidentally shot him because I panicked. You know, like I accidentally hit the like shoot him button because I panicked at how quick he was moving, and I was like, oh, that was actually really interesting that just happened to me. Like that's actually a really interesting mechanic. In a game that I otherwise mostly hate. So that's a great answer that you just fed me, Ash. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess I like, even though they aren't actually super good and they're kind of trite, I kind of like all the dumb magic you can do in BioShock. But I don't.
I was about to bring up BioShock.
But I don't know that I actually dislike BioShock.
Whoa, that's a huge reversal.
No, I think it's... No,
BioShock vanilla, like BioShock base level.
Yeah.
Because BioShock and BioShock 2, I have no problems with.
Yeah.
It's the one.
Yeah,
the ones that are stupid, not racist.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I wouldn't have played to the end of BioShock if I didn't like it. It's stupid and it's ridiculous and it's fun to point at, but I like it probably more or less.
I have no beef with the original BioShock or its sequel.
I don't think I'll ever go back to them, but they can live happily somewhere in the back of my head. I thought Would You Kindly was super lame, so that's like a bad mechanic in a game that I'm probably okay with.
Is that a mechanic or is that a narrative choice? I don't think that's a mechanic.
Well, I think the implication is that all mechanics were Would You Kindly.
I think
it's not
this I'm digging deep here, but Zero Yon Champ is a drag racing game, and the mechanic is just shifting at the right time. You shift your gears at the right time, and then you upgrade your car, and then you shift, and that's it. And I like the idea of that a lot more than I like actually playing the game. I think it's a neat idea, but it doesn't fully come together for me. But it did have like 8 entries, so I guess some people liked it. Yeah,
I guess a lot of people didn't like Final Fantasy 15, but they probably all liked the mechanic Cindy.
Oh yeah, I think that's true. That's definitely a good answer for somebody.
Yeah, I was working on a variation of that same joke about Tails Sky Patrol, but
nice.
That's another good version.
How about the decals?
He's not a mechanic yet in that game. Like they hadn't established him as a mechanic. Although he did fix the plane in Sonic 2, his first appearance.
He did.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a
mechanic from the very start.
Okay.
Okay. This next question comes from Liz Ryerson, our guest from our previous episode, who asks, what are some of your favorite video game sound effects?
I love the sound that Sonic makes when you hit a spike, but you don't have rings, and it just kills you. It's like a ding sound.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
I like the boing when you get a shield.
A shield, yeah.
Sonic's got good sounds. They were all there from the first game too.
Yeah.
Who specifically designed those sound effects? Do we know?
Oh, that was me.
Oh,
that was Brandon Sheffield.
That's how you got started.
That's why I'm rich.
No,
that's the first thing Sega had that Nintendo didn't.
Somebody knows. I don't know offhand, but it was a small team, so definitely find outable.
I'm sure that he's the wrong person to credit with this, but the Foley in any Kojima game is great. Like, like the footsteps in any Metal Gear Solid and how they change depending on like the material you're walking on. Like, Solid Snake like trotting on metal floors just sounds exquisite. Like it sounds so good.
I like the hit effects in every King of Fighters game on the Neo Geo because they're all blown out, so it's just like and it just sounds powerful and big, even if the sound is low on your television because it's just like it just like this huge. It feels like a big impact because it's blown out, and I always thought that was really cool. And I was surprised that others didn't do it, but it may have been accidental. It may have been just like a bad sample, but they kept doing it. I think partially because it worked and it sounded cool and it gave it a vibe. So
similarly, in a lot of Konami games for the NES, there's like this percussion sound that's like this really loud hit. And it's actually because they overflow the sound chip and it's actually like clipping. It's like
Nice.
a clip sound that they use as a drum. And I think it sounds really cool.
Recency bias attacks again.
Let's hear it.
It is more impressive to get a good sound effect out of an older game. It's, to me, also impressive if a video game, even like new ones with new technology, can 100% like one for one replicate like a sound in real life. So I'm thinking of Astrobot when you are in a place where it's like raining and he will deploy like a little umbrella at the top of his head and you can hear it through the DualShock, like the little rain like tink tink tinking on the umbrella, and it's so spot on that it's like it fucks with me. The sound design in that entire game is fucking incredible. I wrote a blog on it. There's like a genie level, like a sand level with like genies and stuff, and there's like a big thing at the end where it's all these gems fall out of the sky, but the gems aren't, when you walk through them, they don't sound like crystals, they sound fake, they sound plastic. And to me it made it feel like this is a game, like they made a game and you are playing a game, and diegetically it is a game because these beads, these crystals, these gems are made of plastic like a fake game would be. It was so perfect, so pitch perfect, that I love the sound design in that game. And it makes me excited that they're bringing Hellblade 2 to PS5 because I really, really hope the people at Ninja Theory used that DualShock controller when they, port this game to PS5 to make use of that, because that game is sound design, the video game. Like, you don't do shit else in that game but like listen. And most of the plot involved in that is just like listening to the different voices in Senua's head and whatever as you walk through these pretty environments or whatever. So I really hope when that game comes to PS5, which they announced today, I think, that they make use of that, because I'd be really interested to see the kind of sound effects that they can make that controller make.
Yeah, I think that's objectively interesting. If you can handle the sound design of that game, that it would be really interesting. I can't deal with it. The constant over-talking of overlapping of voices and stuff is super, super distasteful to me.
I understand that because it is so like, it's by whatever audio. So you got one coming in one ear, one coming in the other ear, and you can hear the mouth noises of when you speak because it is so intense, and it's like it's not enough to trigger the misophonia where I can't play it, but it's just on that border.
It's and plus I wish the dialogue were better.
I wish the game were better. I wish there was more to that game than just walking.
There's a couple cool ideas in there, but Indica did a better job of talking about a person going through a brain time. I would like to, at some point, make a list of, just perhaps for myself, of the sounds my dogs react the most to that come from the DualShock controller, because
they don't like when good.
They don't like when sounds come from there. But especially, I'm playing Ghostwire Tokyo right now, finishing that game up. Barking dogs coming out of that little controller.
Oh, that must drive him nuts.
They don't like that very much. They're like, where is it? I have to kill that guy.
It's in your controller.
What's he doing in here?
Tiny dog.
Get out of there. I'm the tiny dog.
You. That's right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
With that, let's go on to our last question before the lightning round.
Okay.
What is the hack stand-up comedian making jokes about airline food of video games?
I mean, it's the Dark Souls
What's the deal with airline food?
It might be us bringing up David Cage and Peter Molyneux and stuff constantly.
Specifically on this show, yes.
Yeah, on this show.
No, I got it. Madden, NBA 2K, FIFA, all of those.
How so?
Just because they're the same
shit, different day? Yeah.
Yeah. They do add things like the the
career mode
and costumes for walking around in the stadium or whatever. But
like 2K is trying to do that with like I think they've introduced some kind of like 3v3 funky basketball mode or whatever, but it's like nobody who cares about that game gives a shit about that. Maybe it's like something new to do, but
But I feel like the thing with the telling jokes about airline food is that it's like I guess maybe it's similar, but it's old and it's rehashed, and people are very aware that it's like that they've heard it all before. And I feel
that sounds like 2K to me.
But at least you get updated stats and the I was going to say character.
You get updated stats.
The player
Update
roster changes. All your favorite basketball characters.
Whenever I see the NBA one, it's like, man, there's some kind of weird RPG in here. Do I want to play this? This looks kind of interesting. It probably isn't at all, but they make it look interesting to me.
I know people who are really, really into the career modes in the terrible WWE video games.
Yeah, I guess
because that's wrestling, and wrestling is a bit different. Like there's a level of artifice and acting to that.
It is
that
characters.
You do not. Yeah, exactly. You don't get that in basketball or whatever.
I said at the start that it's the Dark Souls of, but I actually have come around to that's actually the answer, but it's when people say it as a joke. Like it's just become so overdone that it is it's like that in that we all understand that it's a joke, that we're making the joke because it's so overdone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the joke is that it's overdone and we're continuing to do it.
I think that's a good answer.
Maybe a less self-aware version would be like games that are supposed to be funny but are really not. Like Matt Hazard Eat Lead, if you remember that for the
I do.
PS3 and 360, which was like supposed to be a parody of third-person shooters and like bro shooters and stuff, but the humor was like very old and very flat and very out of touch.
Well, like I imagine the game where your gun is Rick and or Morty.
Oh, right. High on Life.
Yeah, it's probably very similar.
Might could be.
That wasn't a bad game. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as I was. It was not as bad as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, I didn't play it, so I shouldn't be judging it. But
I played. I
could see it that way.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah,
but that kind of like gun is constantly talking to you does get grating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of those games where you've got like like in Forspoken where you got your sassy sidekick, or in Splatterhouse on the 360 where your mask is talking to you, making little jokes, and it's like, all right, buddy, I heard it. I've heard this. I know about this.
Do we have Portal 2 to thank for that? The guy who's always talking to you?
Or Portal 1? Yeah, maybe.
I feel like GLaDOS was restrained in Portal 1, but Wheatley in Portal 2 was just incessant.
That's true.
I think
there was a lot more of that.
I think GLaDOS made people... Yeah, actually, maybe you're right, because I think GLaDOS made people think like, oh, this is a fun, cool mechanic. I bet I could do this. And then Portal 2 made them think, oh yeah, I definitely could. Because it was just like too much and too over the top. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, so I could do my stupid idea also.
I think Portal is an example of that, like constantly talking. It is just restrained enough to not get overwhelming, because you've got Wheatley, you've got GLaDOS, you've got JJ, what's his name?
Jameson.
J.K. Simmons.
Oh.
Like talking at you all the time. But for some reason in Portal 2, it's always enhances the game and it doesn't detract from it. Meanwhile,
so that is because it's completely scripted and it's not like random barks or whatever. You know what I mean? It is.
Yeah, it's like if this situation occurs, then
exactly.
we will play it.
It is just cutscenes that you walk through.
It was very smartly done.
Yeah, I guess.
Well,
but like,
it's contextual though. There's a lot of tiny weird context-based things that you can do, and then it'll comment on it. It's like the director system that they had in Left 4 Dead, where like context-based.
The situations where you're connected to somebody, they're talking to you on a radio or whatever, and you like sit and pause or stand still too long, and then they remind you, use the boost to get through or whatever the fuck. It annoys the piss out of me, and for some reason, Portal doesn't trigger that, but a lot of other games do.
Yeah. Well, Portal was a lot more clever about it. those like you use the boost to get through, and it's like I'm already doing it. I'm trying to. It's very
all right.
annoying.
You've navigated my 7th question, which is where I laid my trap. You got very close to triggering it, but this week's secret word was cake.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice.
I appreciate that we got close and did not trigger.
Yeah.
Like
the
we
whole
were
time it's like,
talking about-
are they
We
gonna?
lived.
Are they gonna?
We lived.
Not this week.
What does that mean that officially the word of the day is done before lightning round?
Yes, that's. I'm going to
before
tell
lightning
you.
round, you.
Okay.
I'm going
us
to
what
tell
the
you
word
when you get through the topic that my secret word was attached to.
Fair enough. I like
Yeah.
that.
And that means it's over, and I can say cake all I want.
Exactly. You can say
Yeah.
cake now without any penalty. You
So
can
that
talk about how
question
your
was-
favorite. Yeah.
was a portal trigger like that.
Exactly.
That's what. Okay, I see. I
Yeah.
see.
You could talk about how you're not into Red Hot Chili Peppers, but you love cake.
Yeah, if that were true.
All right. It's time for a lightning round. This week we're playing a game I'm calling Who's the Boss? I'm going to name a boss
Samantha.
from a video game, and you have to tell me what game they're from. Easy as that. Whoever gets the most of these right wins. Our first boss is the Vortex Queen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
You're gonna.
Do you know how many
I
video
hope-
games there are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how often people who play video games pay attention to the names of the bosses?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, I'm just gonna say Ultra Vortec, which it is almost certainly
No.
not, but I like to talk about Jaguar
no.
games.
You want to take a guess even?
I wouldn't
don't
even know where to start.
It's same. Like, is it a From Software game? I don't know.
Vortex Queen is the boss from Echo the Dolphin.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that big weird alien HR
Yeah,
Geiger
the big
thing.
weird alien is the Vortex Queen.
right.
Next, Guildenstern.
Guildenstern.
Oh, Rosencrantz and
Rosencrantz
Guildenstern are
and
dead.
Guildenstern are dead.
Yeah, that's
Is
where
that a
that's
video
from.
game?
Yes,
Did someone make a video game out of that?
I don't
I'd
think
play
so.
it.
I'd
wouldn't
play
play
it too.
I wouldn't play it, but I'd
Guildenstern.
talk about playing it.
I feel like that's probably like some kind of in joke for like Dark Souls 2 or 3.
I'm gonna say Green Dog the Beach Surfer Dude.
Mm-hmm.
Are
Is
you
that a
also
game?
going?
That is.
Yes, that is a
Oh.
game. Frank, are you also going with Green Dog, the Beached Surfer Dude?
No, I'm going with the sequel, Normie's Beach Babe-O-Rama.
Yeah.
Is that
Then
actually
we got
a
it all
game too?
covered.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
this is
actually a
always-
game too.
But it's not
Yeah.
the sequel to Green Dog, but they're
no.
both on the
Oh.
Sega Genesis.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Guildenstern is from Vagrant Story. Next boss,
All
right.
The Wither.
I feel like I know this one. Jaffe, you're gonna have to give us hints.
Yeah, Jeffy, this isn't land.
This is a
dude.
bit hard.
Yeah, this is a hard one. What about if I give you the year that the game came out in? Would that help?
That
That'll
is
help
not
me a little
enough.
That'll help me a little bit.
That might help them too, not me.
All right.
Not gonna help me at all.
This game was released in 2011.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not as.
It's been
No.
2011 since 2011
Yeah,
for
it's
me.
been
so-
2011
Yeah.
for a long time now.
We have Skyrim to blame
Well,
for that.
it would be really funny if it were The Witcher. So I'm going to say The Witcher 2, because it's not, but that would be funny. So that's what I'm going for. The Witcher meets The Wither.
It's
Every
not
one
The
of these
Witcher.
is a JRPG to me. So
Yeah.
The closest Final Fantasy to that year.
Okay, I'll take that guess. Ash, do you
Final
have
Fantasy
a,
12 would be, I feel like, the
No, I
closest
think
one.
that's I think that's like
think it's 13.
part 3 or something.
Really?
Yeah.
2011. Okay. All right. Huh.
Ash, do you have a guess?
12 was on the PS2.
2000. I don't know. I don't have year demarcations for the console generations.
All right.
I'm a video
The
games journalist. You think I know that?
The Wither is a boss from Minecraft.
I knew that was familiar.
Well, then you should
Yeah.
have gotten the one we could have gotten right.
Yeah.
Should
This
have
next one is
guessed.
General Rom.
That I do know. That's Gears of War.
That's correct.
Nice.
Ash gets a
Okay.
point.
Okay.
Next is Doom's Bride.
Oh.
As established, that's Ash Parrish.
That's
You're I would marry him. I would.
Doom's
This
Bride.
game came out in 2011.
Doom's Bride. That sounds like a Bloodborne kind of a thing. So that's what I'm gonna go with.
It does. But no, that's not a Bloodborne boss.
Well, I guessed it. I've done my part. I've said a word.
All right, you did say a
Bride.
word. That's what podcasts are.
I
Frank?
don't know, man.
I don't have anything.
All
I don't
right.
have anything either.
Doom's Bride is from Catherine.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, look at that. Also, here's another thing about us, which you may know, is that we don't finish that many video games.
No.
We do not.
You play them, but you don't have to finish them.
I thought we established that I do.
Yeah.
but
Frank's
like
the exception. He
five
plays
a year.
6
Like the
games a year and
freak.
plays through them. Yeah.
That's like freak behavior. Nobody finishes games.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
right.
I also
this next-
listen to albums, like front to back.
Oh, I do
Oh,
that.
I do
Crazy.
that. I do that.
I do that.
I don't
not
listen
do
to
that.
This next one is Pandemonium Warden from 2002.
Pandemonium
If you had
Warden.
just said Pandemonia, I would have been able to guess, but the word, no.
I would have guessed
Pandemonium Warden.
Pandemonium by IDOS, but it's not that.
I'm just going to say Final Fantasy VIII and get as close as I can get to that.
All
that's-
of these are Final Fantasy to me, and I'm just
Yeah,
going to get it right
I mean-
eventually.
Final Fantasy VIII came out in like 1999, but
I am aware.
oh, okay.
The only boss that I am aware of that named Pandemonium, even
Okay.
close, because it's not even the name of that boss, is from Final Fantasy VIII. I think it's
Pandemonium Warden.
Pandemona. And that was like that was a wind-based esper.
I'm going to give Ash half a point here because the Pandemonium Warden is from Final Fantasy XI, the MMO.
Nice.
You know how they reuse boss names.
They do.
This next one is Culex from 1996.
I feel like I'd know that
Culex.
one too.
Spell it.
Culex.
No, okay,
Thank
I don't
you.
know that one anymore.
From 1990 what?
1996.
QLEX.
It's on the PlayStation.
I'm gonna say it's from Turok 2,
I like that.
which is clearly wrong.
Frank?
96, man.
Glover.
That's
Try Glover.
it's not Glover.
You don't know.
Glover's no. I don't know, man. 96. I like that's Dark Ages for me. I don't even know what games came out that year.
Ash?
Yeah, I was like 7.
Okay. This game was Super Mario RPG. It's Culex is the secret boss in Super Mario RPG.
That's pretty close to Turok.
Yeah, pretty close. Next from 2015, Ludwig the Accursed.
Okay,
Um,
gentlemen.
so 2015,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm gonna just only frame of reference I have for a Ludwig in a game would be Ludwig von Koopa, and I'm gonna say that there's a Mario game I haven't played where there's like a dark version of him that you fight. Is that enough, or do I have to get more specific than that?
No, that's
Like,
good enough. I'm taking
Okay.
your guess of some kind of Mario.
I think
Thank
that's the Bach first person shooter. You gotta defeat Mozart.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Bach's Revenge.
I'm sorry, you gotta
Yeah.
beat Beethoven. Gotta beat Beethoven. Ludwig. Sorry. Yes.
Ash, this is
Bloodborne.
gettable. That's
Yeah,
correct.
I know.
It's Bloodborne.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
That one I knew.
You're just setting up Frank and
Gentlemen,
Brandon to
go
fail
ahead.
first.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Also, I just want to say that like I couldn't tell you the names of the lead protagonists in most games that I've played, even through to completion.
It's true. I
So-
don't know the
Same.
name of the lead protagonist in the game I'm playing right now.
Yeah, I'm playing
don't know.
Expedition 33, and if you ask me the names of everyone in the party, I think I would fail.
I am playing Last Defense 100 Line Academy. I have no idea who the fucking main character of that is.
Yeah. Next is from 2002, Kurt Zisa.
Kurt
Fuck, I know that
Zisa.
That's FIFA.
The
that's
final
just a
boss of
lead
FIFA.
character.
Yeah, it's
in
a soccer
FIFA
player.
2003.
Yeah, it's the main soccer
I guess
boss
a goalie
of FIFA.
is a kind of boss in a
Yeah.
video game.
Yeah.
This sounds like Japanese people naming an American to me.
Oh, like Sleeve McDykel.
Yeah, so Kurt Zisa.
Yeah, Bobson Dugna.
Okay, I'm going to say it's from Japan and it's on the PS2. And if I'm the closest to right, you give me half a point.
That's correct. I will give you half a point if Ash doesn't get closer than you.
I mean, unless it's FIFA.
Kurt Zisa.
Kurt Zisa. Kurt space Zisa.
I have Kurt Zisa. Kurt, you said 2002?
2002.
I don't know. I would have said for some fucking reason Borderlands.
This is a secret boss in Kingdom Hearts 1 who was named after a contest winner.
That's
So
not
half
true.
A point, half a
That's
point
true.
for me.
Half a point
No.
for Frank.
That's got to be added after the fact.
Well,
No,
also,
Kurt Zisa was
wait,
what? Zisa. Kurtzisa. Look it up right now. I ain't lying.
I am.
I'm willing
Okay.
to give up my half point because they didn't make the name up.
I think you got closest. You deserve it.
I got closest, sure.
All right. Our final one from 1987, Yellow Devil.
That's Mega Man.
That's Mega Man. Frank, you got 1.5 points. Ash has 2.5 points. You have received your 9th credit. Congratulations, Ash. Do you want to spend any
that
of
wasn't
it?
fair because I was literally at one point in my life paid to know that.
Yeah, I know. I had figured that you might be behind on a few of these, so I stuck one in that you would
Thanks,
probably get.
Jaffe. Was I the only one that got the handicap, or was Kurtzisa meant to be a handicap?
I kind of thought Ash would get Kurtzisa.
Oh, kind of, yes, but this was in Kingdom Hearts?
Kingdom Hearts 1, yes.
Emblem Hearts?
Not even like a later edition of it. It was in
Yeah,
the
I
first
know.
edition.
Because
Right.
the idea that like some random person could be put into the game sounds like something that they did for like 1.5, 9.5 or some bullshit.
It
Not
does
something
sound like that,
it
yeah, but
does.
they ran the contest before the first version of the game. It's wild.
Yeah, I've never heard
They
like
used to do that a lot, actually, in the 90s. They
Yeah.
would run these
they
contests.
did. I have never heard of anything like this for Kingdom Hearts specifically. Like
Well,
I feel
now
like because
we're all learning things today.
yeah, like my depth of Kingdom Hearts, I would have come across this information casually. I never have. So you taught me something today. Thank you, Jaffe.
That's my role here.
Finally,
What-
something new to me on
Finally.
the Insert Credit Show.
Shut it down.
I
391.
learn something new every day, but it's rare that Jaffe is the one that teaches me.
That's true.
Yeah.
Ash, do you want to spend any of these credits, or are you just going to sit on your hoard?
I'm going to sit on my hoard like a
You,
dragon.
you don't want to spin the gotcha machine again?
No.
Okay.
Wait, what did I miss with the gotcha machine?
you.
I got a really good pull.
One of the new rules is that you can use your credits to
Yeah, to
spin the
spin
gotcha
the
machine
I
at
understand.
any time.
I understand, but I want to know what the one example of a gotcha pull so far.
Okay,
is.
I'll tell you.
pulled-
Oh, there's two. I did also.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got a bad
I used my credit to pull, and I got Karlach from
You-
Baldur's
yeah.
Gate 3.
Ash
Like,
got
the
Karlach
god
from
roll.
Baldur's Gate 3, and Brandon got an NPC from The Sims Life Stories, who I later found out was never in the actual game.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Oh, that gives her some secret
Oh,
powers.
it's a
I think.
mystery. Okay,
yeah,
so
an
I
unplayable Sims character.
do I have 6.5?
No, you have no. Those weren't credits; those were points towards whoever.
Yeah.
Whoever
You
had
have
the most
5.
Oh,
points.
so I only
Yeah.
have 5.
You have
Okay.
5 credits.
Okay, then no, I don't
If-
want to spend.
In that case, do you have any recommendations or anything you want to tell our listeners at this point?
Let me think.
I'm playing through Ghostwire Tokyo finally, which was something that I said I wanted to do back in the year when it came out, and now I'm actually doing it, and I'm enjoying it. If you like those 7 out of 10s, check it out. It's a real, like, if you've ever been to Shibuya and you've been to the Scramble Crossing, you can navigate to places that are familiar to you from there, which is cool in my opinion. Once the fog kind of opens up and you're allowed to go more places. And one thing I really do quite like about it is it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes you are allowed to / able to go to places that are off limits to you in normal society. Walk on the train tracks, go on the rooftops. That's, to me, like, if you're going to make something that's reality based, like a realistic city, but then you let me go to the places that society says I cannot go to, that's pretty cool. That gives me a little extra fun time. So yeah, give that a look-see. It ought to be pretty cheap by now because it's been out a long time. So yeah, check out Ghostwire Tokyo. That's what I have to say about that.
When does this episode come out?
This episode comes out on the 26th.
Okay. I haven't established a date yet, but by the time this thing airs, I will have figured out probably. I just bought a giant sack of loose development EPROMs from Taito from the late 80s and early 90s that have very little identifying markings on them. And I'm hoping that there's some interesting stuff on there. And
Would that be Famicom stuff or
Famicom and MSX2 are the two systems that I've identified from the ROMs. So they're a mess. Half of them don't even have labels. And I am going to attempt to do a live stream where we try to recover the data and piece it together. I am going to have at least one person helping remotely. Keeper, the founder of the Cutting Room Floor wiki, has said that they will be on chat and around to help assemble things. But if that sounds intriguing, I am going to do a stream probably on a Wednesday, possibly the 28th, 2 days after this thing airs. So
you stream?
Video Game History Foundation has been doing amazing streams. Last week,
we did one stream.
Yes, you did an amazing stream, singular. Last week, if you're listening to this, the week it came, this episode drops.
And yesterday, if you're in this recording right now,
Frank and the gang at VGAF did this stream where they unboxed half a ton of mystery video game magazines donated to them. And they had this like running counter of like discovering magazines that were new to their archives, magazines that hadn't been scanned yet, just talking about the history of these video game publications. They went through it. It was one of the best times I've ever had hanging out on the stream.
That's so nice to hear. I didn't know it was that good. You know,
it was very enthralling.
How come I didn't know about this?
Because you have never signed up for the email list or the Patreon, the Video Game History Foundation.
You caught.
So.
I have been chastened.
Or apparently the Blue Sky, or even my personal Blue Sky.
Right.
I don't know how to message.
Or like you don't ask Frank often enough how he's doing.
Right. You don't check in on me. You
Oh God, I love how you turn this around.
I would love to have watched that. I wish I had known.
Well, the archive's up.
It's on YouTube if you want to watch 3 hours of that. I don't know. I think you can watch Jaffe chatting in real time, possibly, if you watch it on YouTube.
I was there hanging out for a second.
So this one might be like really boring because it might be like me bending pins and cursing at a reader.
Yeah, putting it in and going like, well, that's blank.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they're all erased. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe literally they've all been erased. I have no way of knowing that yet.
It's going to be a very short stream.
I should probably test some before I announce the stream. Okay. Anyway, I'll probably
No,
be
you
doing
got to
that.
Al Capone's vault it. Just go in blind.
Just flash something interesting on there in advance. Just be like, yeah.
Okay. And just to make this a little bit more enticing, I have no reason to believe they're in here, but there are 3 Famicom games in the era that I've identified that didn't come out that were real and were shown to people. So I'm hoping
be in there.
They
at least
could
one
be
of
in
them
there.
In there.
Decent
Could be in
odds
there.
given the amount of content here. So check our Blue Sky or whatever. Sign up for the email list.
All right. Or just ask Frank about his day.
Just check in on me, and I'll let
yeah,
you know.
I should check on both of you, all 3 of you, all 4 of you, more often than I do. My
we don't check
recommendation-
on you.
I don't know what you're talking about. I talk to Ash all the time.
Jaffe does. It's the other 2.
Whoops.
It's totally fine. This is, you don't have to check in on me. I'm okay.
I'm going to check in on you right now. I'm going to tell you.
Please do. My recommendation, I guess, recency bias. I'm going to recommend that people play Last Defense Academy, the 100 line. I don't know which order those phrases go in, but if you've ever played Danganronpa or Trigger Happy Havoc, you know, the game with the bear,
or the
that's
Zero Defense games as well.
or the Zero Defense. I have not played the Zero Defense games. I have no idea what they're like.
Or Zero. Is that what it's called? Zero.
Yeah, it's Zero Defense is correct because I've heard that too. But I
as soon as I said it, I was like, that configuration of words doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but it does because I recognized it. But it's like a Danganronpa like where, you know, you're isekai'd into a school and there's weird shit going on.
And everyone's going, huh? Yeah.
Every time. So I've watched Let's Plays of Danganronpa, but I've never played a Danganronpa. And I was unprepared for how often, you know, every time you click through the dialogue, the characters are like, huh? It's very off-putting. But 100 line or Secret Defense Academy or whatever.
Defense Academy thingy.
Yeah,
it's by the two of the creators of Zero Defense and Danganronpa. It's the 2 top peoples, and they're talking about how they might go bankrupt before they can make their next game. So you should buy
that's
it.
Unfortunate. I enjoy it because I cannot figure out what this game will do next, and 99% of the time when I'm playing a video game, even if I've never played a video game like that before, I can, most people can get an idea of what is supposed to happen or get an idea of the general cadence of the game. I cannot do that with this game, and it's fucking with me in a way that I am enjoying. So I'm enjoying going for the ride because I have no idea what's going to happen next. So it's a good game. It's fun. If you like Danganronpa or Last Defense or whatever, it's for you. If you've never played those games before, it's for you only because you have no idea what's going to happen next. And I enjoy that.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's really easy, even if you've never played a game before, to kind of intuit what is going to happen next or what the core gameplay loop is. I have not been able to figure that out with this game. And it's throwing me for a loop, and I enjoy that ambiguity.
Yeah, I decided to pay full price for it because I saw them complaining about how they were going to go bankrupt. And I do like those games because I haven't found Danganronpa to be particularly mechanically different or challenging, but I definitely couldn't predict where the mystery was going to go. And that is something that I definitely appreciate about those. So yeah, I will also say give it a shot. I purchased it, but haven't played it yet because I know I'm going to get to it later. Got to finish Ghostwire Tokyo first.
All right. Is that everybody? I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
The fourth panelist that we never talk about comes out and says,
Yeah.
wait, me.
The secret panelist.
I guess the secret panelist is Esper.
I suppose. Esper's our first I think of Esper as our first listener.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have some recommendations. My recommendations are, well, if you enjoyed this episode of Insert Credit, good on you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that personally. If you reflected that by rating or reviewing our show, however you can, really helps us out. You could also support us directly with your contributions to patreon.com/insertcredit.
Zero Escape. That's right.
Aforementioned.
Our secret panelist. Zero Escape, not Zero Defense.
There
Sorry.
you go. Zero Escape. If you'd like to sponsor
It was
our show,
zero something.
Yeah. It was Zenless Zone Zero. If you'd like to sponsor
No,
our
it
show,
wasn't.
I'd like to interrupt Jaffe, too.
Thank you, Frank. The trifecta's complete. Esper, you want to say anything?
They're actually called the nonary games.
That's
Thank you.
right.
The nonary games. All right. Get thee to a nonary. You can also join our community at forums.insertcredit.com or find us on youtube.com/insertcreditshow. Something Demon School, something The Verge, something the Video Game History Foundation. This episode is edited by Esper Quinn with music by, let me check. Yes, once again, Kurt Feldman.
Nice.
I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
I'm Ash Parrish.
I'm Brandon Sheffield.
And your game has now been saved. We did it.
B-52s at the end.
Thank
there.
you.
I like
Jukebox Buddy.
I like the B-52s. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're no Red Hot Chili Peppers.
No,
Hot
no,
red
thank
chili
goodness.
peppers.
Hot
God.
Red Chili Pepper. Yes.
Thank goodness.